King's Dominion is probably one of the most interesting amusement parks in regards to future expansion. Obviously, this year, 2025, they're opening Rapterra, and honestly, I think that's a perfect fit for this park. A lot of the roller coasters here are very, very aggressive. Obviously, you have Intimidator / Project 305 / Pantherian, which is one of the most insane roller coasters ever. And of course, you have Twisted Timbers, which is an insane ejector airtime machine. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. And I would also make the argument that Toombili is a really extreme roller coaster. Like SNS 40 free spins, they throw you around. They're really aggressive in my opinion. Like, I know it's not the style of aggressive that most roller coaster enthusiasts like. It's still a very aggressive attraction. So a B&M wing coaster will provide some graceful inversions. I really hope it'll run smooth. It looks like B&M is forgetting how to build smooth roller coasters, so it is a little concerning, but we'll see how it rides when it opens, I guess. Before we get started, please like this video, please leave a comment down below. What is your favorite roller coaster at King's Dominion, and what do you hope to see this park add in the future? Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I am a pretty small roller coaster and theme park channel, so I would greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. When you consider expansion for King's Dominion, you have to keep in mind that Busch Gardens Williamsburg is like an hour down the road. You cannot add an attraction that already exists at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, but I feel like that creates an interesting dynamic for a King's Dominion wish list, which is why we're going to dig into this video today. Busch Gardens Williamsburg has been expanding at an insane rate. I feel like Busch Gardens is always getting a new roller coaster, and King's Dominion cannot fall behind because these parks are competing for a similar audience. So King's Dominion needs to find a way to keep up with Busch Gardens Williamsburg without breaking the bank. So in my opinion, they need to be adding a bunch of cheaper thrill rides that'll draw in crowds. I created a list of 5 roller coaster types that I think could get that done for King's Dominion, because I want this park to keep up with Busch Gardens in terms of expansion, because it is very, very exciting, and I absolutely love Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Number 5 on the list, I'm completely gonna ditch that philosophy for the most unrealistic entry on this list, a mock hyper. So this would be really, really exciting. I'm down bad to see a mock hyper in the United States, and in my opinion, King's Dominion would be one of the top contenders to receive a mock hyper, because it's one of the most major parks in the United States that does not have a hyper coaster. And if they were to build a hyper coaster, they can't go with B&M because Busch Gardens Williamsburg has Apollo's Chariot. So I would really, really hope that they would send a mock hyper to King's Dominion. It would obviously be a top tier ride in the park. It might even fill the void of Pantherian. I don't even know how to say it. Pantheon 2, whatever. Because obviously, as Intimidator 305, that ride kind of bombed because it was just way too intense for the general public. But that has made it a roller coaster legend among us coaster enthusiasts. But I feel like a mock hyper would be much more crowd pleasing. As far as I understand, Hyperia and DC Rivals in Australia are 2 very, very popular attractions. And of course, Mock Rides delivered a very successful attraction with Copperhead Strike at Carowinds for Cedar Fair, who is now calling the shots as Six Flags. It's a weird life that we're living in right now. I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. But bottom line, I would love to see a mock hyper at King's Dominion. And of course, it would complete that Hyper Giga duo that King's Dominion kind of skipped over because they just went straight to the Giga. But I feel like that's part of the reason why this is an unrealistic expansion project for King's Dominion, because they already have a Giga. Would they take a step back and build a hyper coaster? I mean, obviously a mock hyper would be such an interesting attraction. If it was anything like Hyperia, it would just be such a cool layout that would be very visually appealing for the general public. So I don't think they would have a problem with it being smaller than Pantherian, than I-305, and it would just be an absolutely incredible attraction. Moving on to number 4, we're gonna take a look at Anaconda's plot of land, because King's Dominion recently announced that they are removing that attraction, which I feel like most people are fine with. I feel like a Gerstlauer would be an excellent fit here. Obviously, I would prefer if it was something like Monster at Adventureland. That ride is just absolutely incredible, and we do have proof of Cedar Fair working with Gerstlauer, obviously with Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm. As far as I can tell, that ride was a massive success. It is very, very popular, and I'm honestly surprised Cedar Fair didn't go back to Gerstlauer after Hang Time, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them add a Gerstlauer going forward. That vertical lift and vertical drop would add a completely completely unique dynamic to King's Dominion. I think the only beyond vertical drop in the area is Pantheon, and that's obviously a top hat, so it's a completely different dynamic. If you add the holding brake like Hang Time, you could market it as a dive coaster, and it would be different from the B&M dive coaster that Busch Gardens Williamsburg has. It would be very, very different, so it would be an awesome fit. And obviously these inversions would be kind of slower paced, like the one on Monster, like the inversions on Monster, or the singular inversion on Hang Time that gives Hang Time. So I feel like it could be really well done. You could also incorporate a couple of airtime moments. So this would be an absolutely perfect fit for King's Dominion. And as far as I know, Gerstlauers are not the most expensive attractions, so it would fit into that mindset of providing King's Dominion with some cheaper roller coasters that would keep up with the expansion of BGW. Moving on to number 3, I feel like this is also pretty unlikely. It would be an SNS air launch coaster on Hypersonic XLC's land. When Max Force first opened at Six Flags Great America, I automatically assumed that King's Dominion would be next on the list to add an SNS air launch coaster, but after Max Force, there hasn't been another air launch coaster. We've actually lost an air launch coaster with Dododampa, so it might be more unlikely than ever now. And as far as I understand, I think Max Force has had a few operational issues. And of course, Six Flags was the company that purchased Max Force, and they technically don't even exist anymore. Like, Cedar Fair added Toonbilly to King's Dominion, but I'm not sure if they would go with an air launch because it's proving to be an unreliable coaster model. But it would just be really, really cool if they got a modern iteration of an air launch that paid homage to the park's history. Like, it could be very, very, very cool. Obviously, the launch would be the highlight, but you could throw in a couple inversions, and I would love to see it in front of Twisted Timbers, taking up that same plot of land. That would be such a cool visual to have an air launch right in front of an RMC. That would just be so, so, so cool. Moving on to number 2 is an RMC Raptor. These are famously cheap. RMCs in general are pretty cheap, and I'm pretty sure the Raptors are like their cheapest model. So having a ground up Raptor would not be extreme of an investment, but we also have to consider the fact that California's Great America is closing and Railblazer is likely to get relocated. And before the merger, I considered King's Dominion the top dog to receive Railblazer. I don't know if that's still the case post-merger. Like, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Maybe the merger changes if CGA is even closing. Maybe they'll send it to Discovery Kingdom to keep it in the Northern California region. Or maybe they'll send it to a park like Great Escape. I don't even know. Who knows what's gonna happen, honestly. I just work here. I don't know what's happening. But Railblazer would 100% be an awesome fit at King's Dominion because King's Dominion doesn't get the most attendance, and that ride is just absolutely insane. I have a full review video for Railblazer. You should definitely check out if you haven't already. Like, I've been on that ride 20 plus times. I love Railblazer. It is a top 25 roller coaster in my opinion, and it would fit in really well at King's Dominion. Obviously, it would be the second RMC, so King's Dominion would join the ranks as a park with 2 RMCs, which is really, really exclusive right now. I think it's just Magic Mountain and Fiesta Texas, so that would be really, really cool to see. But moving on to number 1 is a GCI wooden coaster in the same style as Mystic Timbers. Like, an out and back modern GCI would just be absolutely incredible. I love Mystic Timbers. I also love Prowler at Worlds of Fun, but Mystic Timbers is like the modern iteration of Prowler, so it is so much fun. I also have a review video for Mystic Timbers if you'd like to check that out. Like, the ride is just pure fun. It's up, down, left, right, you know? You get some fun laterals. What I love is when Mystic Timbers is absolutely hauling and it chucks you out of your seat, and then you get shoved to the side, and then in the same motion you like drop down and you get more airtime, so it's just like you're getting tossed around like a rag doll. It's just so much fun, and I feel like that would be a great fit. As King's Dominion stands today, we have Grizzly and the Racer 75 as our wooden coasters. Racer 75 is obviously a classic out and back roller coaster, and I feel like an out and back GCI could still work with that lineup because Kings Island literally has a racer, and Racer and Mystic Timbers do not feel alike at all. They're very different. They have completely different identities, completely different audiences, so it would work very well. And then Grizzly, the last time I rode Grizzly, it was rough. It was so bad. It genuinely ranks as one of my least favorite roller coasters I've ever ridden. I know after the retrack, I assume that it rides better. I hope to God it rides better, because oh my gosh, when I tell you it was bad, dude, it was so bad. It was genuinely awful. Like, my mom and my sister hate that ride so much. I think my sister will never go back to King's Dominion because of how bad this roller coaster was when we rode it. But anyway, Grizzly is a double out and back layout, so I feel like it would work fine. I would love if they could have a wooded setting for this GCI wooden coaster. Like, I know the right half of King's Dominion is very well wooded, so if they could figure something out, it would be incredible. So those are my top 5 favorite ideas for future attractions at King's Dominion. Do you agree with anything or everything I've said in this video? What do you disagree with? If you could add one roller coaster to this park, what would it be? Please let me know down in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you later.